Hello YouTube, welcome back to another video. This is 2E0IQJ. Today on Vintage Fridays we're going to look at this piece of vintage tech, and this is a St. Clair, check this thing out, ZX81. Released in 1981 for the price of $79.99 pre-built or $49.99 as a kit. Can you imagine that? Getting a kit and soldering a computer together and making it work. That would have been cool, but I probably would have bought it pre-built because then it would have been a guarantee to work because my soldering skills ain't great. Now it's running basic. It's got 1 kilobyte of RAM, although that can be expanded, and it's also black and white and got no sound. And this was designed for one thing only: cheap. Check this keyboard out. Well, it's not really a keyboard, it's just a membrane. I think that's what you're going to call it. Now this has had a modern upgrade because I've got modern upgrades for this. The keyboard is a modern replica. The original one did work, but it was looking perished after about 40 odd years. And I've got a different commands there. It's got cat and copy. You can bring a directory up of the expansion I'm going to show you later on in this video. On the side, we've got ourselves 9 volts DC, a microphone socket, an earphone socket, and you have to load things off cassette. Didn't get a cassette with it, you had to supply your own cassette, but by that time they were quite cheap getting the cassettes. And here is UHF TV. It plugs into the RF, and if your TV wasn't built to receive BBC Two, i.e. it was still on the 405 line system, then it wouldn't work with this computer. You needed one that could receive UHF channel 36. Now on the back here, we got ourselves an expansion connector there, and that was for connecting things like joysticks, modems, and other things like that, and RAM packs. Now the RAM pack was famous for the wobble. If you sat there typing in your basic program and you jolted the RAM pack, the machine would crash. So what people used to do was add a piece of blue tack, although ones I've seen at rallies have got Velcro stuck here, and the RAM pack stuck to the Velcro, so it holds it in place. There's nothing else on this side, and on the bottom there it just says, see that, it says St. Clair ZX81 personal computer. Now this one does actually work because I've had the modern day keyboard put into it. I've never had any software loaded up on any of these until I got the modern day upgrade, and I'll show you that. Here we go, we got ourselves a ZXpand. And this sits in the back of the ZX81. It allows it to run SD cards on the ZX81. You just press the button at the back there and type in cat, and you get a directory listing. You can go through it by using the keypad. Now the keypad on the ZX81 is weird. You can see here, you've got where it's got run, for example. You've got like equal sign there. You've got a little character on there and all sorts. And underneath it, you've got integer. Because you can't just type run, you have to press R. And if you wanted, say, the equals an arrow, the arrow sign there, an equal sign, you have to press shift and new line to get the function. Then you can push that one there to get the red symbol. Pain in the backside, but once you get used to it, you could sit there typing in your basic programs. It's just a shame you just couldn't type in run. Although I've seen for Spectrums you can get an upgrade that allows you to just type in run instead of going through symbol shift P and all this sort of stuff, all different menus and modes, peaks and pokes, just to get the word run to come out on the screen. The ZXpand, here we go, is version 6.7, and I've had this for a little while now, and I used a 32 megabyte card, not a gigabyte rubbish in the side here, but overkill for this, and I loaded up some software. It can also be used as a memory expansion because I played 3D Monster Maze, which is the first sort of Doom game. You have to go around the maze and try not to get caught by the monster Rex, and that needed 16k of RAM to run it. Oh, whopping 16k RAM. And all this one does is just sit there in the back. Now I have seen another video online where someone's got this ZX81 decoding RTTY, which would be quite good. If I can find a program, I can then type it in, injure my fingers at the same time, and then decode RTTY on this, because I'm sure you could just plug in a standard audio cable into the earphone socket there, and we should be away we go. Now I have actually got stuff loaded up off tape as well. Well, I used an audio file that I found on the internet, and I used it on the computer. So I ran the audio file on the computer using Audacity, and then plugged it into the headphone jack on the Macintosh, and able to load stuff that way. But using a normal cassette, I couldn't get it right. The volume's got to be right. Now on a Spectrum, you had different colour bars on the screen. You had the red and blue bars, if you remember that, the screeching. If it wasn't right, then the game wouldn't load up. The same thing with here, but you get black and white bars. If the bars are too thick, it wouldn't load, and not thick enough, it wouldn't load. Once you got the volume right, it's normally around about 3, I think it was. It used to be 3.5 on the Beeb. Normally about 3, you get the software to load up. Nothing worse than sitting there letting the whole tape play for a minute or so, or 2 minutes, and find out the thing ain't going to blooming load. Because there was no indication on this, it was loading. With the Spectrum, you'd see, at least you see the screen coming up and different colours on there. Same as the BBC, you'd see loading 01, loading 02, and so on. And that was a quick look at this vintage computer, which is a Sinclair ZX80, and this is a working one from back in the day. Just had a modern day upgrade at the top with a Z-Expand, and it also does memory expansion. It also had a modern day keyboard. The other one was working, but it looked perished after 40 odd years. Anyhow, if you found the video some use, know what to do, give it a thumbs up if you've done on the video. The other button seems to work too. But as always, thank you very much for watching Vintage Fridays, and I'll see you in the next video. 2E0 IQJ 73 for now.